Good morning and welcome to the Morning Post, brought to you, sponsored by the Racing Post Members Club, your first stop for all your form analysis, video replays and access to all the best tipsters in the game. And what a weekend we have ahead for you. It's Paddy Power Gold Cup Day, one of the great handicaps pre-Christmas, with an amazing support card. We've got the Greatwood Hurdle tomorrow. We've got an unbelievable two-day card over in Arm that Navan, that David Jennings is going to preview us through. And also today we have got two of the best minds in the game, bringing you a different sort of trail of thought on each of them. And we start off with one of the Racing Post main men, one of the big tipsters, Graeme Rodway. Graeme, how are you?
Very well, thanks, Posty. Yeah, great to be on the Morning Post, presented by Charlie Post.
Well, it's the first time for me,
that,
and I said, like, metaphorically and actually, I've got big shoes to fill with our great mate Dave Orton normally taking this role.
A big mouth to fill, that's for sure.
And a big body. Yeah.
Usually I can hear Dave Orton before I even start. Now, coming up the stairs, he's so loud, isn't he? So I do wish you good luck in that task, but it's a great day's racing, isn't it? I'm really looking forward to Cheltenham today, tomorrow. Good day yesterday, wasn't it? We enjoyed yesterday. But I think this weekend is better than yesterday, isn't it? We had only 23 runners across the races yesterday, live on ITV. We've got a few bigger fields, haven't we? Proper handicaps, the Greatwood, the Paddy Power itself. It's going to be a really good weekend. Can't wait to get stuck into the action, Posty.
Yeah, and some excellent handicap hurdlers today supporting it. G-Rod, what's your luck like with the Paddy Power Gold Cup?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a lucky race for me in the past. I'm sure that all of our members watching will remember me tipping the winner of this race last year. Of course they will, you know.
How could they forget it?
How could they forget it? You know, G-Rod actually tipped a winner. That's what they'll be, you know. But I mean, yeah, I had Stage Star last year. So I'm hoping to go back-to-back winners in the Paddy Power this year, and I'm not on the favourite this year.
Hold that thought, we'll come to that later. Yeah, we'll come to that later. And joining you alongside, we've got multiple Grade 1 winning jockey who's going to bring you some real fascinating analysis onto how it is to ride Cheltenham. Of course, he did an excellent article in the paper recently describing the difference between the old course and the new course. It's the old course today, and Aidan, you won the race on Tarquin de Sul as well a few years back.
Yeah. Probably not your typical old course ride, because he kind of got a bit further back and ended up staying on late and getting up on the line. So it was, it was a great day. And shoes on the other foot now, and hopefully my insight can be a little bit relevant.
Well, we're going to see whether you're going to be more Roy Keane or Gary Neville about how you treat the riders of today. But also yesterday, one of your old friends, John Bond, got off to a winning seasonal debut. What did you make of his performance?
You could, everyone just loves, from day one, the horse has just been knocked, you know. He's just not a popular horse for whatever reason. And, he's never been out of the first two. He's won 7 Grade 1s. He just deserves a bit more credit. As far as the performance goes yesterday, it was adequate, wasn't it? You know, you'd always prefer a little bit more when you look at how close the other two were, but I know for a fact he'd come on a ton for the run, and John Bonner around Cheltenham and John Bonner around Sandown are very different horses.
That's a really interesting point. Obviously, John Bond 4 from 4 around Sandown. Yeah. Tingle Creek next. He's the one they've all got to beat.
Yeah. And my best feeling I ever got off him was Aintree or Sandown. Do you know what I mean? Flat track, riding aggressive, yeah.
It's funny, Posty, because Aidan actually says, people are always trying to knock him. And that sort of horse, I think, John Bond, he's the kind of horse that people like me, it's my job to almost knock him. Do you know what I mean? Because he's been short throughout his career, hasn't he? From the moment he started, because he was he is a brother, isn't he, to Duvan?
Duvan, yeah. And he was a high price tag as well.
High price tag. He came there with a huge reputation. So from a sort of pundit's perspective, he's the sort of horse where you're going, right, this horse is always going to be going off 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 1 to 4. So you're always trying to pick holes in him. I don't think it's so much that we don't appreciate him. I mean, I think I know that he's a good horse, but even on Thursday night I was sitting there saying, well, he's only ever lost 3 races in his life and they're all around Cheltenham. Just from a price perspective, as a pundit, you're always going to be sitting there going, this is short, how can I find a reason not to back him or to back something else against him? And for that reason, I think they always go a little bit underrated for that reason.
And you are right, because I will always, now I'm on the other side, I will always probably look at negatives when he's running around Cheltenham. But the other tracks, I think he's pretty unflappable this year, definitely. Yeah. He proved that last year at Sandown, winning the celebration again. He won it as a novice as well. He's a different horse around there.
He's a fabulous horse, isn't he?
Yeah,
I mean,
simple.
but I think it's human nature that we want to pick holes in everything, you
Yeah,
know, and he's a horse that, whether he'll go down as an all-time great, but he's a pretty special horse. He's a multiple Grade 1 winner, and he could win a champion chase.
100%. And do you know how many all-time greats are there? We're having kind of that conversation earlier. Like, you know, to get into an all-time great like Kato Star level and all them, it takes something like a proper anomaly.
But
really.
Longevity is the big thing for me, and consistency.
Yeah.
And he is a horse that is starting to compile that sort of record. You know, he just wins.
Yeah, and if he has another good year this year, you know, you're adding probably over 10 Grade 1s. Like, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
like,
definitely. Just flipping back to the big race today. It's G-Rod, you're a little bit older than Aidan and me, potentially. But, you know, the race has been it's been run under many names and different guises. For me, as a kid growing up, Cypher Malta was the big one for me when he won it as a 5-year-old. He recently actually passed away, I think, at the grand old age of 31. But is there a special moment, a race, one of these races that sticks in your memory?
I mean, I remember lots and lots of editions of this because I used to go to this meeting religiously for years and years on end, and before Paul Nicholls and Dan Skelton there who dominate in England, you know, it was always the big meeting that Martin Pipe would always have, you know, one laid out for this. I remember Shooting Light winning it. He was a tiny horse, but you know, he won very well the year that he won it, and he was a heavily backed favourite that day. And I remember the roof almost came off. Another Pipe winner in the Paddy Power Gold Cup, and I think going back even further, horses like Bradbury Star won it twice, didn't he? I remember Sparky Gow going off once, hot favourite after winning loads of races in the north. It's the real starting point of the season for me. I know that we've had like a few times where we've come on and said this is when it's really getting going, but I'm not sure that it really gets going until we get to the Paddy Power, and here we are at last.
Yeah, pushing that Chepstow meeting every year is just like, it's the Paddy
This is
Power.
where it begins.
Yeah,
isn't it?
it really is. It really is.
But again, if you're watching on, message in, send us, tell us your best Paddy Power moment. What's the winner that stays in your head? But before we do that, we're going to have a review of we're going to have a look through today's papers. So yeah, front page, Power Play. Paul Nicholls obviously back amongst the winners, fabulous 5-timer last weekend. And in Ginny's Destiny, he's got the big race favourite today. Again, Keith Melrose, the protector at weight won't necessarily stop him, but Ginny's Destiny might. And again, the new excellent Racing Post feature, the Smart View card. They put all the figures in, and they give you a percentage chance. We're seeing there Ginny's Destiny, 97% chance there at 3-1 on the book. And again, Dan Skelton, the big race man, a big chance of making it a perfect 3. Again, analysis from Keith Melrose and James Stevens. And here he is, Johnny Deneen, one of the great characters of the game. He'll be back in Blue Devassi over at Navan until he gets beaten. And here the Saturday Sizzlers, Paul Keeley. Garlaw gets the verdict in bid for second Paddy Power success, which is great because we'll be talking to his big race rider, Gavin Sheehan, shortly. Again, the main man, Tom Seagal. I always love that pose in the paper there. He's going for Garlaw as well. Thanks for the help later on, and wonderful eagle today at Cheltenham for the Mr. Pricewise. Okay, I think we can throw over to our other guest this morning, and that's David Jennings over in Ireland. DJ, Deputy Irish Racing Editor. How are you? It's looking fresh as always.
And God, I'm worried. Like people like you taking our presenting jobs. That's what I'm worried about, Charlie. Mr. Versatility yourself. I'm very worried though as well, because I went out for a few pints last night after the races, and I'd say I spent an hour trying to convince people that it was absolutely rubbish that John Bond is not as good around Cheltenham as anywhere else. And now the man who knows him best of all says he's not as good around Cheltenham as everywhere else. So yeah, it looks like I was talking nonsense again last night, Charlie.
DJ, I can't believe that's true. But like, just give us a little bit of an overview of the racing at Cheltenham today. I mean, it's a bumper card, and of course, we've got all the action from Navan that we're going to talk about in a while.
Ah, sure, it's great. Yeah, like we've got the best of both worlds on both sides of the Irish Sea today, because at Cheltenham here, it's real competitive. You know, big handicaps. The Paddy Power Gold Cup, as you say, Cypher Malta. I even just about remember Bradbury Star winning it, and it's just one of those races that it always kind of evokes memories of your early racing careers. And I think in Ireland we probably have more quality today. So you've got the likes of, you know, Slade Steele, obviously, who's a who's Slade Steele is on Sunday, who's a Supreme Novice Hurdle winner, and you've got Captain Guinness, the champion chase winner, running against Banbridge, who's been lined up for the King George in the Fortria. And you've got Found a 50 who's second in the Arkle thrown in there, and you've got Bob Ollinger and the Lismullen. So it's I think Navan probably has more quality than Cheltenham. But Cheltenham on Saturday, it's so competitive. And as we will preview the races, it is tricky. I'm sure we're all going to have different opinions on the races. So, I think we've got everything we want today, Charlie.
It kind of really feels, DJ, like the season is really clicking into gear. Just, you're obviously at Cheltenham. What was the buzz around the track like yesterday and in the town last night?
I love Cheltenham. I came over on Thursday because I love it so much, and I walked the track, and there's something about this place. I've done Melbourne Cups, and I was at the Breeders' Cup in Del Mar. When you walk through the gates here at Cheltenham, it just does something different to you. It's hard to explain, and I just hope that will last my whole life, that I'll always feel that way. It's just a magical place. It was a great buzz around the town last night, and it's going to be, I'd say there'll be a big crowd here today. I'm just looking down here, and I think the gates open in about 20 minutes or so, and I'd say there'll be a pretty decent crowd. It always gets a good crowd here. So, there's a good buzz around the place.
And John Bonner side, what stood out for you yesterday?
Oh, Potter's charm. Oh, I just think Potter's charm. And you know what? Because the Irish dominate what was the Ballymore, now the Gallagher Novice Hurdle, and because the narrative now is going to be, wait till Jalan the Darius comes out, or whatever Willie is going to run, and maybe Jasmine the Bovo or something. The narrative is going to be, Potter's charm, he'll win maybe the Challow, and he'll win all these races, and then when it comes to Cheltenham, he'll just be kicked out of the park. I think that's rubbish. I think this is the real deal, and I think he's been underestimated in that Gallagher Novice Hurdle market. And the thing about it is with Potter's charm is Valgrand is such an electric jumper that I don't think Potter's charm's jumping was as bad as it looked visually on the first circuit, because Valgrand was pinging everything. And I thought Potter's charm against normal jumpers, not electric jumpers like Valgrand, will be absolutely fine. That'll bring him on a ton. I was surprised to see him as big as 16-1 for that race afterwards. I just love him. I think he's got everything, and don't be surprised if he's the one to maybe change that whole, the Irish will definitely win the Gallagher Novice Hurdle. This guy could make that change.
I think what we've seen as well, that there seems to be a real change in his shape with the Twiston Davis yard. A lot of energy. Willie seems to be very actively involved. Been reading interviews, and they are very forward, as they can inevitably be at this time of year, but there also just seems to be quite a lot of young quality coming through the team, Aidan.
And you can see they're being very active at the sales, which they never were. Nigel always unearthed these gems from, I don't know where he got them from, like Black Lions and all them, getting beaten point to points, and now they're actually going and spending money at the sales. I think that's probably Willie's confidence and push, as you know him. I think that dynamic with Nigel's experience and his character, I think it's really working. And look, if anyone can prove it, the new one and all the good horses they've had over the years, I agree exactly with DJ just said there. I think this horse, 16-1 for the festival, is that what he said? I'd be having a bit of that, definitely.
It looks pretty big at the moment,
I think
doesn't
it's huge.
it? Yeah.
I think it's huge. And I know, literally, there's going to be other guns to come out, but I still think everything will probably be compared to him, and there'll be nothing will say, oh, he's definitely going to beat that horse. Do you know what I mean? It's, I think 16-1 is, you want to be getting involved in that now.
We were having a seamless link there when you mentioned Black Lion, but because of course Gavin Sheehan won a Beecher Chase on Black Lion, and I thought we were going to tee over to Gavin right now, but we've just lost connection with him. So Ben out there is going to try and get him back on the line, then we can talk through his big race ride
Charlie,
today.
can I ask Aidan a question? Because
of course.
Obviously just about John Bon. Why is it, do you think, that you think, and you know better than anybody, why do you think he is better at Sandon and Aintree just say? Is it the flat track? Because I thought yesterday, I know he only won by a length and a half, and last year in the Shloer as well, I just thought he seemed to handle the undulations quite well. And I think we're overplaying this whole that he hates Cheltenham thing. Why do you think Cheltenham doesn't suit him?
Well, he doesn't hate Cheltenham, but I suppose I just don't think he's as good as around there, and it is the undulations, there's plenty of horses that are more suited to a flat track, and I think he definitely ticks those boxes. The fields the times I rode, and the best he ever felt was probably Aintree the day he won the Novice Chase. He was electric, and maybe for whatever reason Cheltenham has fell at the wrong time for him, but I just think he's better around.
Can I just chuck another one in there to you? If the Champion Chase was ran on the new course, would that suit him better?
100%. That is literally, when I've been saying about the old and new course, he's made for, because I've always said he's an aggressive ride 2-miler is his optimum from day one, and he does stay very well. Of course, he could run well in the King George. We talked about that earlier. Gold Cup horses would run well in Champion Chases. They might not win, but they'd run well. But I think that extended or stiffer 2 miles around a new course would definitely be more up his street.
I'd like to come back to that later in the show about the article you did for the people that are watching that maybe didn't read it, about the nuances between the two tracks. But right now, we've got our man on the line. Gavin SHEEHAN joins us. Gav, 8 winners from your last 32 rides, the last 14 days. You're in red hot form. Your confidence must be sky high going into the day.
Yeah, it's gone all right, thank God. A good few seconds as well, which is fairly annoying. It's funny how we worry about the seconds more than we do the winners.
Well, that's always the jockey's way, as in, we've always got to be looking to keep thinking about what you could have done better. But, you ended up with over 90 winners last season. I think you're on, is it 42 so far in the current campaign? You must be delighted with the progression of the way things are going with your career.
Yeah, 100%. Friend of mine that follows me and looks after all my rides and things like that. He said I was 4 winners away from 800, which is hopefully another milestone. But it's gone great. It's just trying to get the right connections and trying to get the right rides. And last year went brilliantly. I had a good few big winners last year, and obviously my highest number of winners. But look, it's amazing when things are going great, and hopefully they can continue now. To be honest,
is the 100 a target or not?
The 100's a target. I've got loads of targets, Charlie. The 100's definitely a target.
We just want to hear about the racing-based targets, though, Gavin. Okay.
Sorry, though.
And again, like last year with Hewick, That's All Right, Gino, and the Coral Gold Trophy, the big winners are really starting to come as well in the quality.
Yeah, definitely. My main man is Jamie Snowden. He provides me with most of my winners, but look, he's getting better quality horse as well, and it's nice to get them spare rides when you get the likes of Hewick. I know the Shark probably asked 100 other lads. They were all unavailable, so he got stuck with me. But them big races are massive, and that was a real pleasure to win the King George. Like, it's when you talk about racing, that's one of the big ones. And I was lucky, and obviously the Coral Gold Cup as well last year. But That's All Right, Gino, who sadly passed away since. But the big winners is what you want. I look at big winners, and then hopefully the numbers will come as well.
No, without doubt. And the link up the Snowden Yard, I mean, it seems to be a massively upwardly progressive team. You had one ride at the track yesterday, so a couple of questions. One, how was the ground riding? And then 2, if you can just run us through the 3 rides today.
Yeah, ground yesterday was, I thought it was just good ground for most of it. Probably slower.
I think we're going to have to cut off from Gav there. He's doing his best Darth Vader impression, but I'm not quite sure about the ground there, G-Rod. But yeah, but we do know that obviously has a big chance on Garlaw this afternoon.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we can get Gavin back. I think he's got a great chance on Garlaw. He's obviously big hope for another big winner, isn't it? Like you were saying, last season he went on a golden run, didn't he, Gav? That's All Right, Gino. The Cheltenham Gold Cup he won, didn't he? The December one, I think, and then obviously the King George on Hewick. And I'm hoping it's all going to go to plan with Garlaw today. He's got a great course record. Ground is right. So let's see what he's got to say. Can we get him back?
We'll throw back to him. You there, Gav?
Sorry, guys.
No worries at all. So we didn't really get the going report. So if we can have a quick going report and then the 3 rides today, just talk through their chances.
Yeah, it just probably seemed on a slow side of good, really. 3 chances today. Yeah, hopefully the first one, if that steps up and improves, then hopefully that'll run a big race. Obviously Garlaw is my main fancy there. We've kind of targeted this race, and the ground is probably right for him as well. His main thing is his jumping. He's been a bit of a poor jumper in the past, but more so on softer ground. On the better ground, he seems a bit more sure-footed. So that'll be ideal for me today. He's obviously got good form around the track and everything, and really looking forward to him. Got Ardèche Chisani, who we've been doing. She won a bumper and finished down the field in another bumper, but we tried her over hurdles, and she's just going to take a little bit more time. But give her another run in the bumper, and hopefully we'll see what happens today. But she's been in great form at home.
And then just quickly, Gav, Block Rockin' Beats made a winning debut at the track at the last meeting. He lines up in the listed bumper tomorrow, taking on Fortune de Mer again, who he narrowly beat. Can you uphold that form, and what do you rate his chances tomorrow in what looks a deeper field?
Yeah, we liked him at home, but I would have preferred to go somewhere else and win the race. And I was surprised, and the manner that he did it the last day. He came off the bridle a little bit earlier, but yeah, he stuck at it well. And to be honest with you, comfortable turn them in and actually sent them on. But hopefully, like the Skeleton's horse was. He did take his
I think we're gonna
I think that we can still have the beating of that one again.
Well, Gav, look, it's been great to chat to you. You're in the sort of the black hole that maybe is the Cotswolds, so you're maybe getting closer to Presbury Park. So we're going to wish you the very best of luck and hope all goes well, especially with Garlaw in today's big race. I don't know about Block Rockin' Beats tomorrow. I'm not quite sure. Can he uphold the form with Fortune de Mer or not?
I think what I got from it was that he thinks he will.
I think he was surprised that he won first time up at Cheltenham. So you would hope with natural progression he's going to be a player tomorrow. But like I say, there are some Irish horses coming over for that race that are going to take a bit more racing. And we've just got, before we get into today's racing previews, a quick advert. Really interesting to hear from Gavin Sheehan there, getting his thoughts, well, when they weren't interrupted on the rise today and tomorrow. And of course, the fact that he said the ground is riding good to soft, which is an interesting facet when on the card it's given as good ground. We're going to run you through today's main televised action, starting off with the Paddy Power Arkle Challenge Trophy Trial Novices Chase. Now, whether that's quite true, whether we can see this as a genuine Arkle trial or not, but we do have a good horse at the top of the market in Loda Sud. And Aidan, I'm going to kick straight off with you. What's your thoughts on this race?
It's funny what you just said, like going back to the Me Show now, but like I won this a few years ago and everyone said like that's a bad Arkle trial and none of these will even be in the first race at the Arkle, you know what I mean? And it ended up being Put to Ketlan who won it and the following year's champion.
So what you're saying is I shouldn't be so presumptuous right now. You're quite right, yeah.
Maybe not presumptuous, but I think you're right. I think you're right, but everyone said the same that day, and it just goes to show you just never really know, do you? This race, if any horse is going to be competitive in the Arkle, it is the favourite. I know he's short, I know you like him, but I think he's as good a bet as you could have, really. He's by far the best horse in the race.
Yeah, I think he's priced up right, if I'm being completely honest,
yeah,
G-Rod. You know, as in, yes, we had the one scare round Stratford, but in the whole his jumping was good.
And it was a handicap as well.
Exactly, and I think he'd be better in a better race. There's going to be pace here, which I think will help him.
Yeah.
I don't think he needs to be making the running. You know, as in, and he'll be able to take a lead definitely in this race. And talk to us. Why will that help him as well?
If he's making the running here, so we've really read this race wrong, haven't we? I would say he'll be. We know, like obviously, Look Away and Western Zephyr are going to be. Which one of them is going to make the running? I don't know, but this is going to be a proper test, isn't it? And he's a strong traveller, so Harry will have the bit in his mouth. And this track is like fences are tricky enough, but if you could have 4 fences in a row at any track that really ride well, it's this, isn't it? You know yourself. You start here and you got a straight line, and by the time he gets to hopefully the last circuit to go, I think you'll know exactly where you stand, and I'd be very surprised if you're not very happy.
G-Rod, is it a one-horse race or can Look Away make something of it?
I think Lookaway can definitely make something of it. If Lord de Sud turns up and shows his best hurdles form, he's probably going to win, isn't he? He was good enough to finish second in the county hurdle when he went off real hot favourite and was only run down by a superb ride, wasn't he, on that absurd? Who
the thing about it was, I actually thought Harry gave Load of Sud a superb ride, timed to perfection, but there was just one man that timed it even better in Paul Townend.
Where would Load of Sud have finished in a Melbourne Cup? You know what I mean?
No, but I backed him that day. I thought he was going to win the whole way round. To be honest, Posty, like you say, I mean, I couldn't believe that something was going to come and beat him. He travelled so well, and that's what I like about horses over hurdles. If they do travel, I do think that does. What you guys think? I mean, you rode them. I always think if you've got a nice, strong traveller, I always think they make nice chasers. I don't like horses over hurdles that like struggle to go the gallop, and then because then when they switch the fences, I find that more difficult. Do they find that more difficult?
Of course you do, because Charlie will really echo this. I hope you will. Anyway, there's only 3 ways you can meet a fence, no matter how many fences you jump. It's long, short, and spot on. And if you're travelling, you always give yourself the option of meeting it in one of them 3 options. So you've got 3 options. If you're like this, you've only really got one option, and that's the one that you meet it on, isn't it? And I'm not saying horses that don't travel aren't good jumpers, they predominantly are, but you've only really got 1, maybe 2 options, and that's kind of whatever you meet the fence on. But whereas Harry, I would imagine, will be able to say no, yes, whatever, or take what's there, and I think you.
I think as a rider, definitely, and you can so easily overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
There's 3 choices. Make a choice and stick to it.
100%, yeah. And know your horse, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And flipping over to a man that gets it spot on more often than not. DJ, what's your thoughts on this race?
Jesus, you mustn't be following me, Charlie. I fancy Load de Sud. I'm going to be extremely boring here. Apart from that, Horlicks of a mistake at Stratford, I thought he was really good. He looked like he really enjoyed himself. He attacked his fences, and he's just a different caliber of horse to the runs he's running against here. Like, it's a nice race when you take him out of it, but again, like, Load de Sud wins this. Like, he's a talented horse. I do think we sometimes underestimate the English novices, and rightly so, given the recent history of Cheltenham races. But Load de Sud has every right to be aimed at an Arkle at the Cheltenham Festival. That run in the county hurdle was exceptional. And if you did back him, as Gerard said, like, you would have fancied collecting every step of the way. Loved the way he jumped at Stratford. He's a shade of odds on. At evens, he's probably a great price. At 5 to 6, he's still probably a good price.
Could he be evens or not? What do you think? Could he drift?
I don't know. He's one of those that I think, given the caliber of opposition, I think they're going to be, they're not going to want to take him on too much. And it'll probably depend on how the first couple of races go, and whether the punters have made a good start or not. But I'd say he'll probably get 10 to 11, and you might even get evens. But 5 to 6 looks fair enough.
I agree with DJ. I think at even money, he's a great bet. So this has got the capacity to be a pace burn up with Lookaway, Western Zephyr, and others, and that will suit Harry Skelton ideally.
I think it's as simple as this. It's 5 to 6 to get round, in my opinion. Like, he's by far the best. If he doesn't make a Horlicks and he jumps adequate, which I'm sure he will, he wins.
Team Steam here then. Load of Sud for you.
Yeah, I'm on him too. So we're all together. All 4 of us on Lord de Sud.
Perfect. Well, there we go. It's boom or bust for the team here, because we're either all going to be in the clover or we're all going to be looking pretty foolish about the Arkle trial there with Load of Sud. We move on then to the big race, the Paddy Power Gold Cup handicap chase, as in Ginny's Destiny tops the market, Garlaw, as we've just heard from Gavin SHEEHAN, and a fascinating contender third in the market with Imagine, who turns out for the Harry Derham yard after a big money purchase with the sale from Gordon Elliott. And DJ, I'm going to throw straight back to you. Imagine, is the form good enough? And 2, what do you think about him in a big field when he's really lacking experience over fences?
I think the triple definitely suit him. I think he does. He's not a 2-miler, and he never was a 2-miler. And I know when he was in Gordon's, they did think the world of him. And I know they really did fancy him to win the Martin Pipe the year he ran it. It's a big ask. He probably is quite well handicapped. And I'd say he could potentially run well, but the race revolves around Ginny's Destiny, doesn't it? I did the setup piece on page 2 in the Racing Post today, and I just said, like, it's so obvious. Like, every single thing you go to, it's like, same mark as Stage Star. Stage Star won it last year. He's a second season novice. He's won over the track. He was brilliant at this meeting last year. He's a cracking run in the Turners. He's trained by Paul Nichols. He's been aimed at the race. It's just literally, if you were to write out a list of credentials that you want a Paddy Power Gold Cup winner to have, Ginny's destiny has every single one of them, and you're going. So, like, he's the right favourite, and at 7-2 now, you're kind of going, hold on here a second. You know, he's definitely a backable price at 7-2, but it's just, I don't know what it is. It sounds bonkers, but it's almost too obvious. But I do think he's by far the most likely winner. The two that I'm going to give a shout out to, Let's Go Champ. I think Ireland have a horrific record in this race. Tranquil Sea I think is the only Irish winner in this race since 1980 when Michael O'Brien won it. So it's hard to believe that Ireland's record is so wretched. But I think Let's Go Champ just didn't quite see out. It was 2 miles 6.5 in the Galway Plate. If that was this trip, I think he would have been a big player at Galway. He's a good jumper and he's quite unexposed still over fences. I think he's got more to offer. So I think Let's Go Champ, big day for Mike O'Connor. I think he's got a chance, but the juice probably gone out of the price at 9s, and maybe he wants softer ground and maybe he wants the new course. But Fugitive is 22-1. I think there's far too much between the likes of Gala and Fugitive, like 22-1, 11-2. I could see Fugitive running better than his price, but if I was to give a selection, it would be Let's Go Champ. But as I said, the obvious one, obviously, is Ginny's Destiny.
I think as well, Ginny's Destiny's chance is helped by the fact that he got Protectorate in there, because it gets him in off 11 stone 2, which is a lovely racing weight. Let's Go Champ is a horse that I'm particularly sweet on. I think he's a great jumper. I think the tempo of this race and the trip is ideal for him. And I think the man on my left, Aidan, you're also.
Yeah, I hope we kind of have a few different selections throughout the day, but I think the Galway Plate run is going to massively stand in his favour here. That's a very tricky track, Galway. Not too unlike this place here. So he's got the experience in a big field. He's had the recent run. And I think the main thing is Henry's absolutely flying, and he just ticks an awful lot of boxes. I know what DJ's saying about Ginny's Destiny, and arguably, probably is the best horse in the race, but it is handicapped.
What about its first run of the season?
Well, I suppose
with Paul's, as in, I think I was listening to someone the other day that said, I think again Ginny's Destiny's RPR improved by about £30 from his first run. Is that a concern?
Yeah, 100%. And I said it to people 2 weeks ago when Pauls were getting beat, and they're like, "Oh, is there something wrong?" I was like, "No, they're just needing to run." And I said that in the next couple of weeks, when the horses haven't run, have had a couple of more bits of work into that, gulf will massively be reduced. But at saying that, this horse is going to improve for the run. And maybe the experience, I don't know. But he could be the best, you know what I mean? He's a class horse in the handicap, isn't he? Which is always something you need to respect. But I just think on yard form and that benefit of the Galway Plate run, it just steers me towards Let's Go Champ. Yeah,
so we're with Let's Go Champ. DJ has a word for Let's Go Champ. 7-2 without a run. Is that appealing to you with Ginny's Destiny, G-Rod?
Well, Stage Star won it last year for Paul, didn't he? But
which of course you selected.
Which of course, it was my only winning tip for all year. No, but I mean he was racing off 155. Ginny's Destiny's racing off 155 here. But Stage Star had, of course, won the race, hadn't he? The Turners, that is no longer around, coming in. Ginny's Destiny was beaten, wasn't he, by Grey Dawning last year, and Stage Star had a sort of remarkable Cheltenham record coming in. Now I know that Ginny's Destiny's got loads of ones by his name at Cheltenham too, but I just, in the back of my mind, I'm just not sure that he's as good a horse as Stage Star is or was at that time coming in last year, and he's running off the same mark. And I think you're going to need to be close to a Grade 1 horse to win this race this year, because I think it's going to be run like a Grade 1 race, because you've got genuine Grade 1 horses in there at the top of the weights, haven't you? I mean, Protectorate is a genuine Grade 1 horse. He won the Ryanair last year.
Well, he's a genuine Grade 1 horse. Can he win it then?
He can win it, definitely. If it was soft ground, I would really fancy him. I think he would just outclass them. We know that Dan Skelton's hungry for the title. We know that he's going to have this horse wound up here. It's a big pot, isn't it? 90,000, I think, to the winner. And we know that Protectorate loves, of course. He did it last year. He's run at Aintree last time. Yes, he was beaten, but John Bond came out and won at Sandown. I think that Envoy Lem was in the race. He's won a Grade 1 since. Minella Dramo, who was well beaten, won the Old Rowan. So, I mean, that is tip-top form. The only thing with Protectorate is the ground, isn't it? Is it going to be too fast for him? All of his best form is on soft ground. He stays 3 miles, doesn't he? Yeah. So I can almost see him running really well and running on really strongly, but not quite being quick enough to carry top weight to victory. But I mean, when he was double figure odds, I was suggesting he was a fantastic each way bet. I can't have Protector out the 4. I think he ran really well. For me, the other 2 Grade 1 horses in the race are Ginny's Destiny, who obviously has been placed in Grade 1 last year in the Turners, and Garlaw, who's the one that I really fancy, because I think the ground has come right for Garlaw. He's got a great record at Cheltenham, hasn't he? He's won 2 of his 4 starts there, I think.
Unbeaten in handicaps, I think.
Yeah, he's unbeaten in handicaps. On good ground, which is his bag, I think he's a Grade 1 horse, and I think he will outclass them. If I'm honest with you, I only see 3 horses fighting out the finish: Protectorate, Garlaw and Ginny's Destiny. I cannot have the rest of the field at all. I might even do the Tricast.
Tricast, I mean...
I might even do the Tricast post here. I can't have the Irish runner, I'm afraid, because as DJ's already said, like, the Irish have got an absolutely appalling record in the race. My view on it is that, like, the British really treat this as a big race. Like you see it every year. Paul Nicholls always has one revved up for this. There's always our big trainers always have one revved up for this race. The Irish trainers don't, and I don't think that this Let's Go Champ is going to be able to hold a candle to these Grade 1 horses.
Well, I think if you get the Tricast up, then it's got to be a team outing for everyone that's here in the back room as well, and the beers are on you.
Well, stranger things have happened, Posty. Not many stranger things, but stranger things have happened than me getting the Tricast up than Paddy Power.
I would call it truly remarkable if this happens, but I'll be watching on with interest.
This time next week, when I'm on this show and sitting in this sofa, we can play back this clip of me saying that Garlaw, Ginny's Destiny and Protectorate are going to finish in the first
one thing
3.
that's going to happen, G-Rod, if you get the Tricast up, this next week will not be the first time this clip gets played out, because this will be clipped up and you will go viral. Yeah.
I am sure we'll be playing back this clip next week for the other reason.
And when they finish third last, second last and last,
That was a Tricast you meant, was it?
But
we'll see.
Right, we're not going to force you for the Tricast, but selection Garlaw.
I think Garlaw will win. Protectorate will finish 2nd, and Ginny's Destiny will be 3rd. Just so that I've got to get in there so they can play it back.
You
next
tee
week.
yourself up for it,
So
don't you? No wonder you get all this abuse, you know. As in, but anyway, yeah. Aid.
Let's Go Champ for me.
And DJ, we'll throw back. I'm Let's Go Champ as well. DJ, I think you were Let's Go Champ with a shout for Fugitive on the back of a wind up. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm going Let's Go Champ 1, I'm going Ginny's Destiny 2, and I'm going Fugitive 3. Let's try and beat G-Rod.
Oh, I love it. I love this sort of inter-rivalry between the Racing Post men. So, DJ, I know you've got a lot on today, massively busy afternoon, and you're gonna leave us shortly. So before you go, obviously it'd be ridiculous not to touch on the incredible action that's going on in Ireland today and tomorrow. Just give us an overview, what the people at home should be looking out for, what's of interest to you especially.
Yeah, I'm kind of ashamed of myself, Charlie, because I'm a Navan man who went to school in Navan, who grew up in Navan, and I'm not at the Navan Racing Festival. I'm in Cheltenham, so I probably should be ashamed of myself. But terrific day at Navan. You know, I suppose the first graded race of the day is the 125, and it's the for auction novice hurdle. And my old up in the ante-buddy Johnny Deneen is absolutely mad on Blue Devassi. He sees something in that horse that he thinks could potentially shoot him to stardom. And he said he's going to, as you see in his column in the Racing Post today, he said he's going to back him every day until he gets beaten. Blue Devassi probably will win, but I'm a big fan of my way of thinking in that race. They could not believe when that horse was beaten by Harbour Highway in a bumper at Navan, and I thought he was valued for more than a winning margin when he won his maiden hurdle at Punchestown. And the thing about him is he's from the same family as I know the way you're thinking, Limerick Glaze. I like the way you're thinking, and that family do get better with age. So I think my way of thinking in that 125 has got a big chance. I think Bob Ollinger will make a winning reappearance in the 158, the Lismullen hurdle, the race he won last year. And that was the catalyst for a much improved season from Bob Ollinger last season. So I'm with Bob Ollinger. The race of the day is the Fortria Chase, that grade 2. Pound of 50, Banbridge, Captain Guinness. All punters want is pound of 50 this morning. He is very short now. Like, it was basically 5-2 the field. Yes, I think he's into as short as 5-4 now. I think Captain Guinness is way overpriced here. Yes, he took advantage a little bit, I suppose, like put the kettle on. He took his advantage when it arrived in the champion chase. John Bunn didn't turn up. El Fabiolo took a couple of fences back to Ireland with him that day. But he still won the race, Captain Guinness. And he is an incredible jumper who's unbeaten at Navan, who won the race for the last 2 years. And how he's 7-2 for the Fortria Chase today is beyond me. I think he's way overpriced, Captain Guinness. He mightn't be the best champion chase winner there ever was, but he's not the worst either. So I'd be with Captain Guinness in that. And just one other one I'll give a shout out to on the Navan card, because I think he's got a cracking chance and he's a big price too. In the 12.50, it is the 2 mile handicap hurdle. Metamorpheus, number 12, is about a 10-1 shot for Paul Nolan and Sean Flanagan. Ran well in the Fred Winter a couple of years ago, and just strikes me as a horse that will jump around Nav, and I think the track will suit. He's fit from a good run of flat as well, so Metamorpheus has got a big chance in that 12.50. And a shout out for the Troytown Chase tomorrow at Navan, Charlie, which is a big day in County Meath. It is the 2:30 and one of the big handicap chases of the season in Ireland. American Mike is around about 9-2 favourite. But bless me, Father, for I have sinned. I'm giving Percival Le Gallois another chance. He has been favourite for the Galway Plate and favourite for the Kerry National. He has disappointed, but I thought there was excuses both times. I thought at Galway he missed a break and missed an early fence, and then in the Kerry National Show was a mess because Flooring Portland the race won after 3 fences. I think Navan will really suit Percival Le Gallois, and I think he's kind of underestimated, about 12-1 Percival Le Gallois in the Troytown. So that's all the action at Navan, Charlie.
Yeah, Percival Le Gallois, a real cliff horse. DJ, though, before you go, Greatwood Hurdle tomorrow. Again, one of the great sort of early season contests, can often throw up a real top-notcher. Any particular pick for you?
Oh, sure. Me and Dice Artinos go way back. I was all over for the Mayor's Hurdle, or the Mayor's Novice Hurdle at Cheltenham last year. Look, the way I look at Dice Artinos is the only way she can get beaten is inexperience. It's a Great Wood, good horses, seriously well handicapped horses have got beaten in Great Woods in the past, and she could be another one. But I have no doubt whatsoever in my mind that she definitely has £10, possibly 12, possibly 14, possibly even more. Like, this Dice Artinos to me could potentially be the best horse Fergal O'Brien has trained, and she's rated 131. Like, she is all class. She's got speed. She's been trained for the race. It's a Great Wood, as I said, and things go wrong in the Great Wood, and she's so inexperienced that she could clatter into the first and get, shorter room, and she needs to be held up, and she could be keen. So there are a lot of things that can go wrong, but if things go right, and if like 7 out of 10 things go right in the race, I just can't see how she won't win. I think she's the best handicapped horse in Ireland or England. So
Dice Artinos for G-Rod for DJ in the Great Wood, even with a 7 out of 10 performance.
How dare you?
How dare you?
How dare you call me G-Rod?
Well, you did say you had a big night, so and before you go, buddy, just a nap. Give us a nap for the weekend.
My nap is today at Cheltenham. It's in the 110, and a few of Tony Martin's horses ran very well yesterday, and it's a drifter this morning. But Reed to Return, who caused so much controversy in this race last year, the jockey got suspended. But Reed to Return, for me, is better suited to English style of racing, because they're going to go so quick in this amateur riders handicap chase. And Finney Maguire, Adrian's son, is just going to sit and lob along out the back and gradually make ground in the final circuit. And I just think I can see him absolutely tanking coming down the hill. And there is one of these type of handicap chases in Reed to Return, and I think it's going to be today. So Reed to Return, around about 6-1 now in the 110 at Cheltenham is my nap. Charlie.
DJ, Graeme, Rodway, Jennings, thank you ever so much, and have a great rest of the weekend at Cheltenham.
Look, he's in shock. Look, he's in shock.
Right, team, I'm getting noise in the ear that we've got to up the tempo. We've got a few more races to get through, so we're going to move swiftly on to From the Horse's Mouth podcast. Handicap hurdle. Again, we've another shorty, and again, it's trained by Dan Skelton, the man for handicap hurdles. Doyen Quest, G-Rod, I'm going to come straight to you. Is this obvious? Is it that obvious?
He's the sort of horse that I always want to take on, Posty, because he's going to be a short price, and he represents big connections in a wide open handicap. However, these big connections have suddenly become like very hard to beat in these big handicaps, haven't they? Like, how good are the Skeltons in these handicap hurdles? I mean, the answer is very
Let's just get
good,
away from how good are the Skeltons, full stop.
Well, full stop. Yeah, full stop. I mean, I've already said, and Paul Nicholls won't thank me for saying this, but we've already gone past the point where Dan Skelton has taken over from Paul Nicholls as the best trainer in Britain. It's only a matter of time before he comes champion. probably this season. If not, it will be next. And he's got a really good chance here with Doing Crest. But he's favourite, isn't he? And I don't really back favourites, although plenty of people will, and he's got a good chance.
Step Up in Triple help, won't it?
Yeah, should really suit him. And he could be miles ahead of his mark, couldn't he? I mean, we could easily see him back for a graded race in March, couldn't we? However, there are a few interesting ones in there, aren't there? I mean, David Pipe's got a decent record in the race. Won it with Catco a few years ago, and he's got Thanks for the Help. He was favourite for the per temps. Probably back when Aidan was riding in March 2023. I mean,
and he was favored for like the per temps equivalent of Punchestown as well, the 3 mile, and obviously there's something there to suggest why he was favourite, but at the same time, you'd like to see him prove his worth in these kind of races.
For a long time, hasn't he?
David Pipe's horses, he's having a bit of a resurgence.
Yeah, it's going well this season.
Really flying. Yeah.
And they always have one lined up for this meeting, don't they? The Pipes. We said this earlier about Martin Pipe. This was traditionally their meeting.
G-Rod, you're telling there's a lot of horses that could go well, but I feel like we're not getting down to the...
My selection is Z-Band.
Oh.
For another trainer who has got a decent record in the race. He won it last year, in fact, with Buddy One, who carried a big weight. Z-Band's carrying a big weight. Last season, Buddy won a race at Galway en route to this race. That Z-Band finished second in last time. So, is it Paul Gilligan, I think his name is?
Yep.
I always get mixed up because he's got 2 first names, Paul John Gilligan. So sometimes I call him John, sometimes I call him Paul, depends how I feel. Sorry, but
his name is Paul.
Well, it confuses me if people have got 2 names on the card. Anyway, he had the same. He ran in the same race that Buddy One did last time. He's obviously been lined up for the race. It's his son, so not John, Jack, rides. He rode Buddy One last season, getting 7 off him. He's getting 5 this time off of Z-Band's back. He was a good flat horse. He likes good ground. He'd improve for a step up in trip. I think Z-Band's too big at double figures.
So you like the symmetry of all of this. I'm with you on Z-Band. Aidan?
Yeah, I love Gold Road. I just think he's ran well at 2 festivals, Twistons, as we talked about earlier, and this meeting. Like they will have a winner. This, well, obviously they had one yesterday, but this horse always runs well in these kind of races around Cheltenham, and I think it's 7 to 1 or thereabouts. You're going to get a run for your money. He's ridden up there. He's going to be on the premises at the last, and I think whatever passes him will win.
So. You're hoping nothing's going to pass him,
well, I think
of course.
Nothing will pass him, yeah.
But yeah, for the informed team, Gal Road for you.
Yeah.
Z-Band for you, G-Rod?
Z-Band, yeah. Paul John and Jack Gilligan.
Paul John and Jack, yeah, exactly. Z-Band for me, in a race that you give a lot of chances, though. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It wouldn't surprise me if any of them won it. Helpful, isn't it?
I tell you what, I bigged you up at the start of the day about one of racing's great analysts and tipsters, and you've now said you wouldn't be surprised if anything could win it. No. You've done the tri-cast in the Paddy Power Gold Cup, but the next race, anything can win.
Yep.
There we go. Right, hopefully you have a bit more of a firm opinion on the Paddy Power Intermediate Handicap Hurdle. Hamzian tops the market for that man, Tony Martin. Bookmakers on full alert. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, this could be a 1-horse race, or not, couldn't it? I mean, it's going to go one of 2 ways.
Well, of course it is. He'll either win or he won't. So, yeah.
Well, I think he's either going to he's going to come up the hill hard on the bridle, isn't he? And we're all going to be, the jockey's going to be looking around, and all of us that have backed something else, which will include me, are all going to be going, oh, why have we missed this? Another Martin plot, and he's going to win doing hands. So he's rated 91. On the flat, he chased home Alphonse Legrand on his last run in the Chester Plate. That came out and won the Cesarewitch.
And got beaten the Cesarewitch. And won the Cesarewitch.
Got it back.
Yeah. I mean, we could do a 3-hour show on that.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's stick to the racing.
Arguably, Hamzian should have beaten Alphonse Legrand that day as well at Chester. He had a rotten run through from the back. He's rated 91. Even a conservative estimate of flat to jumps ratings would suggest he could probably get to 126, 125, somewhere in that region over hurdles if he reproduces his flat form. He's rated 111, so he could be a stone well in, and it will surprise no one if Daniel King is sitting there like this with a double handful at the last and everyone else is pushing away and he just goes and wins as he liked, as Tony Martin did with Unanswered in the race a couple of years ago when that went off a red hot 2 to 1 favourite. However,
I was just waiting for the however. I was nearly going to preempt it because I could see what was coming. Go on then.
However, That might not happen.
No.
Of course it might not.
It might not happen. He might not be as good over
You know what I
hurdles.
said about upping the tempo?
Well, he might not be as good over hurdles,
No.
might he, Hamsian? I mean, that is the worry. I mean, he's rated 111 over hurdles because at the moment, on what we know, he's not as good over hurdles as he is on the flat. And if he's not as good over hurdles as he is on the flat, then he will not win, and he probably won't even be in the first three. Like I say, I think it'll go one or two ways. He'll either win easily or he'll be tailed off.
We want to know the winner, in your opinion.
So I'm going to back Why Not. Why
Okay.
not? Why not back Why Not? She's very, very tough.
As our producer says, you could just back everything in the field and rest assured you'll pick the winner.
Well, then you will, yeah. But she's very, very tough. Henry Daly brought her here last time. She put up a really good performance. The horse back in ninth, American Sniper, was beaten
I just
yesterday.
to chuck
but
one thing
was
at you with that,
since.
though. They claimed off of the last day.
Yeah.
She's up 6,
Yeah,
and now we've taken the claimer off.
yeah.
I struggle to understand that, Alice Stevens. I get that she's got a good book of rides that you toxed her, but that's surely got to be a negative.
I'm not sure. I mean,
No.
it's difficult, this one, isn't it? Because, equating, jockeys, jockeys and what their worth is in pounds is difficult, or are we, Steve?
So you think
I
Sam
think-
Twiston Davis £11 better than Alice Stevens?
Is Sam Twiston Davis £5 better than Alice Stevens on an average day, I suppose, is what you're asking yourself as a pundit anyway. And I think Alice Stevens is a very good rider, actually. I put her down in my
Yes or no?
claimers to follow.
Yes or no?
But in short, I think that the answer is yes. I think Sam Twiston Davis on an average day would probably be £5 better than Alice Stevens. So that helps negate that negative. And then you've got the £6 rice to deal with, which Why Not got for winning last time. But the form has worked out well because American Sniper, who was ninth, has won since. So £6 might not be that difficult. You know that Why Not jumps well, unlike Hamsian. You know that she likes Cheltenham because she won there last time. She's certain to run well. No doubt Hamsian will come there swinging all over me at the last and I'll be banging my head against the brick wall. But I'll back him Why Not.
Okay. Aid.
Have I got time?
Yeah, sure. Succinctly, please. Yeah.
Yeah, long draw for me. I think Ollies are flying. Normally you wouldn't like to run a seconds, but I don't think he's ungenuine. And if he is, he's covering it up very well. I don't think he's done a lot wrong when he's been second. He's proven, although he's started winning off 100, he's now 118. He's proven on his last run that he will be competitive in handicaps off this type of mark. And I just think 13-2 is a good bit of value.
Yeah, I can see that. For me, I like Hamsian. I thought he was unlucky at Ascot in that
Yeah.
over 2 miles in that juvenile handicap.
Yeah.
He's now proved he stays very well at Chester. The step up 5 furlongs in Trip, it's got to help.
One thing I will say, and I agree with you saying, just juveniles the next
Agree.
year, it's just it's a negative more than a positive in overall, isn't it? A few do kind of make the transition, but most don't.
Agreed. Well, so Hamsian for me, long draw for Aid.
Everything for G-Rod.
Why not?
Why not? Why not?
Do it quickly for G-Rod. Okay, we move along to tomorrow, to the big race tomorrow, the Great Wood Handicap Hurdle. A fascinating contest. As DJ has said, Dysart, Enos heads the market at 5-2. I don't know what it 12, 14, 16, 18. I mean, £20 he thought possibly she had in hand. Then we have Burdett Road, who's been plying his trade at a good level on the flat at 9-2. And Dan 2-mile handicap hurdler Skelton with Be Aware at 17-2. Aid?
I texted Tim Gredley after Burdett Road won at Newmarket a couple of months back, and I said, ride him handy in the Great Wood and he'll win. So he won't win. He's a class horse. Like his form last year, he was only beaten by Sergino, who I think is the horse to follow this year.
Agreed.
I really do think he, if anything happened Constitution Hill, he could win a champion hurdle. I really think he's that good. And it's the only horse to beat him last year. Obviously, he had a little injury, so we didn't see him again. James Owen is taking on before him, and
what
a transition he's
meteoric
made from
rise at
Arabs.
the moment,
Yeah, literally. I just think he just ticks more boxes than Dysart Enos. Like, why have we not seen her at the 2 festivals last year? Up against the boys. Like, look, she's obviously very good and she's obviously well handicapped, but she really, really needs to be to win this.
How will they ride Burdett Road?
Hopefully forward.
Yeah.
Hopefully forward. Because, obviously...
Sorry, you did say that. Yeah, that's where you ride him.
Just because I said it doesn't mean they'll do it. But at the same time, I can see why they dropped him in last year, but he's actually not as quick as he was probably making out. I think if he's ridden forward, particularly on this track...
He's a classic case in point from a jockey's perspective. He thinks he's quick, doesn't he? 100%. And actually, when you let go of his head, he doesn't go that much faster.
Much faster at all, basically. But he's got a very high cruising speed, and this track will really play into his
So
strengths.
Burdett Road for you?
Yes.
G-Rod.
Oh, God.
Well, I
We've got 4 minutes to wrap this up, yeah. So, and we've got another race to preview and that. So just a minute on this, please.
I could make a case for quite a few of these.
Of
It
course you
may
could,
or
yeah.
may not surprise you.
Right.
At the start of the week, I did tip Be Aware, who I think has got a huge chance
Yep.
for the Skeltons, who won this twice in recent years, Northfield Harvey and West Cork being the ones. However, recent days, I've come drawn to a horse called Black Poppy, who is a big old price for Kerry Lee, who does very well in handicap hurdles at Cheltenham. Black Poppy won at the track in 2023 on the new course, and then finished second last year over course and distance on the old course behind a horse called Our Champ, who was running off 116 that day and is now rated 137, I think. So obviously absolutely thrown in that day. If Black Poppy runs that sort of race here, I think there's a good chance that Black Poppy will run into a place at a big price.
Nice. Be Aware for me, I think, is in... I know last year he was just a shell of a horse. We actually had him through our yard at home to break him in before he went to Dan Skelton's. I don't think they were expecting him to be making the progress he did through last season. But he ran a cracker at Sandown his last start. You could argue he's maybe a fraction unlucky. He must improve for the summer. And as G-Rod said, maybe the price has gone now, but I'd still be with Be Aware for Dan, and they know how to plot one out for a 2-mile handicap hurdle.
No doubt, yeah.
On that note, G-Rod, before you jump in, we just got a quick advert. Okay, we're nearly there, and I hope you're enjoying the show. And like I say, get in touch if you have any thoughts on today's action. But looking a little bit further ahead, casting our crystal ball, we cast our eye over the Betfair Chase. And I mean, if all these turn up, it has the capacity to be an absolute cracker. Obviously, Grey Dawning heads the market. Hasn't potentially had his prep run that I think they were hoping for. Yeah. Corbett's Cross, of course, has. Oh, Signor had an interesting prep that created plenty of discussion.
Wrongly, in my opinion.
Okay, well, let's probe to that quickly. Go on.
Yeah, if you look at his first runs the last 2 years, like, he wouldn't have beat anything. Do you know what I mean? I would imagine they were like, just get him to run well. Like, it's been a car crash first start of 22 and 23. And I understand what people are saying, but like, he stayed out of the race when it developed, and they're always going to stay on them horses. Like, you know, that he's conserving energy.
So you think he was flattered?
No, I well, a little bit, I suppose. But at the same time, if Derek had got involved, turning in down to 2 out, and he fell away, like, it's the definition of madness doing the same thing and getting the same result. Like, he would have literally probably not ran well like he did the 2 previous years. I think with the benefit of that run, he was the one I was going to come to. Like, he's kind of a nearly horse in a way, isn't he?
Did they find the way to ride him?
I think so. But
like, would you ride him like that over 3 miles now?
I think so, but I think if they rode him any handier the last day, I know it was over 2.5, I think he would have just done too much wrong. Like, he is a bull in a china shop. I think he would have made a couple of mistakes, probably pulled, probably jumped left, jumped right. I think last run at Aintree was just get him to run well, please, because it just doesn't work first run of the year, the last 2 starts, and he'll take a massive step forward for that.
So you're with a Hoy Signor at 5-1?
Massively, yeah, really am.
G-Rod, from a punter's perspective, what did you make of a Hoy Signor?
Yeah, it was eye-catching, wasn't it? But we know what we're going to get from.
But were you irritated? There were a lot of people that were irritated.
Not particularly, no, because I think that as a punter as well, you have to be realistic. You know that this is first time up. I mean, you often get punters moaning about first time up runs or whatever, but you take that into account as when you're betting horses. I think whether you
particularly
think
with him,
right,
because his first runs are terrible usually.
Yeah, you know.
So he would have never been a bet for you.
Never been a bet for me. But I know other people liked him because obviously he had trap form. But
what about now?
Not now. I think we know what we're going to get from him. The one horse we don't know we're going to get from is Grey Dawning. I think there's a huge amount of upside to him. I think he could be the star in Britain of the season. Whether he gets wiped aside in the Gold Cup by the Irish, we'll find out. But I think we'll see Grey Dawning go into the Gold Cup in March as Britain's biggest hope of winning back the Gold Cup after winning this. And I think it's pretty simple. I think Skelton will have him right here. It's a big pot. Skelton's desperate for the prize money for the title. I think Grey Dawning will win.
Yeah, I must agree. I don't think the lack of a recent run for Grey Dawning in the prep race is a negative. I think it's just a big step up whether he can do it from novice company into open grade ones. Grey Dawning for G-Rod, Ahoy Signor for Aid. I personally am going to go along with the man on my left, Ahoy Signor as well. And that brings us nicely along to today's naps. G-Rod, you can only have one, and we don't want the TriCast, so you're the nap today.
Well, if I can't have the TriCast, and I'll just have the winner, please, then that's Gavin Sheehan, our guest on Garlaw 220 at Cheltenham.
Aid?
Bob Ollinger, I think he's a great price. He's like such a class horse. I know he's maybe slightly flattered to deceive from his novice herd win at Cheltenham a few years ago, but like his form last year was top class. I just think Henry's are flying again, and I think he should be odds on.
Lovely. And I'm going to take on the Irish Deputy Editor DJ, who goes with Reed to return with Come On Teddy for the Harry Derham team. First run for him moving over from Tom George. Nothing against Tom George, who I think is a very good trainer, but I think Harry Derham could just be a cut above.
Harry Derham is looking like he's just stable, like he really thinks about the game, and if anyone's going to be probably challenging Harry or Dan Skelton in a few years to come, I think he's a few years off it yet, because if he's in his infancy as trainer, it's probably going to be someone like Harry Derham, isn't it?
Definitely. And with Barry O'Neill booked, I just think it looks pretty obvious, you know, as in and
yeah, and it always pays to follow the top amateurs in these races, and you know you're not going to get many better than Barry O'Neill either. Not
at all. So look, it's Garlaw for G-Rod and the big one, Bob Ollinger for Aidan over in Ireland, Reed to return for DJ, and Come On Teddy for me. Look, it's a top class day's racing. Paddy Power Gold Cup, to me it's when the season really kicks off. We hope you at home have a great day, back a few winners, do it responsibly of course, and to Aid, G-Rod, thanks very much, and we'll see you next time.